like every camera ever made ever.
Yeah, Tyler was like, do
one.
I push the button on top?
It's the one on
You
the
know
top.
more about cameras than I do.
On the right-hand side.
What's up, guys? So, if you haven't met my husband, Tyler.
You should have heard me sitting down, grunting,
Such
trying to
an
sit
old
down.
man,
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
older than you.
I sit down and my knees go off like firecrackers.
You really do.
You go, "Bah-bah."
They usually, like, anytime you'll get up in the middle of the night.
You
to,
can
like,
hear it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, Tyler's up.
Let you know where I am in the dark.
We could play Marco Polo without ever saying anything. Anyway, so I figured we'd do a fun, like, couples Q&A. Miss Felicity, if you hear little grunts, she's down here.
Or me. It could be either one of us.
Honestly, could be me too, because I'm kind of feeling the same vibes, but...
Old man noises. Old man noises and newborn noises are eerily similar.
It's kind of like they say when you're born, you're like a baby and, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's similar when you're, like, really old.
Yeah.
And you pray that you get to live that long. That's something I've been thinking about a lot. Like, people that, you know, as you get older, obviously, you get wrinkles, like, things change. And I've been thinking a lot about how we should be so lucky to live.
Yeah.
Now it's going to make me emotional so early on in the video. My gosh.
We just started.
You should be so lucky to live long enough to get
have
wrinkles.
to worry about it, yeah.
And to, you know, anyway. Calm down, Jess, okay? That's not even anything we're talking about.
All right.
So we asked you guys on my Instagram, which is, I almost said JamPV89. Aw. What is my, it's Jessica Braun. And then your Instagram.
At the Tim Tracker.
No.
You can follow me on Instagram or YouTube.
Stop! They're gonna get really confused. It's
Wait,
Tyler Travels TV. I was gonna say you don't have that mustache he has, but he doesn't. He hasn't had
yeah.
that in years, has
Yeah.
he? Anyway, Tyler Travels TV. And if you don't, I know some of you guys are watching this and you're like, we've known you for years, guys. Some of you guys are newer or you only watch my videos, but we vlog a lot. And Tyler's like, sometimes he'll peep into my vlogs here, but we also have vlogs on his channel.
Very rarely I peep into your videos.
Oh, I have to force you. I'm like, why is this so hard, mister?
I just.
Why do you feel
I'm
so
shy.
weird on my channel? No, you are not. Anyway, okay. Yeah, so let's get into the questions because we need
Yeah.
something to guide this.
All right.
I did take screenshots while I was feeding her earlier, so we'll be kind of organized. Let's start with the most important question. Do you and Tyler play Wordle?
I do not. She does.
I told every night I get into bed and I'm like, Wordle time. Do I do that?
Yes, you do. I have nothing against Wordle. I just don't really play it.
Well, when it was like first like actually popular.
I was just so tired of hearing about it. I'm like, I refuse to play it because I'm tired of hearing about
Tyler
it.
always takes these grandstands against things that don't matter. I'm like, whatever, man.
It wasn't a grandstand. It was just.
It was a grandstand. You were like, I shan't play Wordle.
I shan't.
Anyway.
Should but shan't.
Could but corn't.
Would but weren't.
Thank you. It's like somebody needs to say the next one. You want to start strong? I don't even know what. I looked at these questions and I was reading them to you
I
earlier.
was like, yeah, I'll have time to prepare. And
Yeah, me too. And then I didn't. So we're just flying by the seat
It's
of
the
our...
Braun motto: arrive completely unprepared.
And a little bit late.
Favorite thing about each other.
That's hard. I just have so many.
It is. No, it's funny because it's true. I'm like, I don't know that there's one thing that I could pick that's like, oh, that's my favorite thing.
Well, you better start picking because you got to have something or else I'm going to riot.
I don't know. I mean, it's...
I like about you, it still involves me, so it's a little bit of a selfish choice, really.
Yeah.
But the first thing that came to my mind, I'm going to cry throughout this whole thing, I'm going to hold it together, is how you are always just loving towards me. Like every day, not a day goes by, and I know we've talked about this recently, but not a day goes by that you don't like hug me or tell me you love me or give me a kiss or just snuggle on me. And...
Not a day goes by.
Thank you.
Had to
You
do it.
better
I know.
believe, yeah.
I don't know. Everything. There's not much about you I don't like.
You had better name something specific.
I was gonna say your sense of humor is one of my favorite things because I can say the most outlandish, ridiculous things, and a normal person would find me off-putting, but you'll find it funny. And so,
Oh, I think a lot of people find us off-putting.
But I always know that, like, I just know I can, like, look at you across the room and we're always thinking the same thing. Always. Always. We can be at a party with a bunch of people in the middle of it and I can
We'll
look
just,
at
like,
you
catch
across
eyes.
and I know we are thinking the exact same thing.
Did you hear what so-and-so just said? That's a solid one.
Yeah, I think that's my...
Because, like, quality-wise, you have all the things I like, you know?
We got all the things. We do.
I
I mean,
don't know about
for us, I mean,
Yeah.
again, a lot of people wouldn't care for us.
It's a good thing we found each other. Oh, boy. Yeah, I like that, too. There's just, like, a deep understanding of, like, pretty much everything together.
much, yeah.
Ooh, you want to read that one?
How has your relationship changed since having kids? How do you find time for each other? We're kind of lucky because we get to work together. And so we get to spend pretty much all day, every day together, which is not a luxury a lot of people get.
Well, and some people wouldn't want.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, we learned during COVID lockdown that some people do not get along well when they spend all day, every day together.
Yeah.
They're more of a 4-hour-a-day kind of relationship.
Just dinner and conversation, and that's it, folks.
But I think we work really well together because we work together in the same space, but we don't do the same thing. And so we can always kind of bounce ideas off of each other and stuff like that. So we work together in the same room and we have lunch together every day. But, we can ask advice from each other and kind of talk things out. But I think because we both still own our own companies, we both still make our own decisions and stuff like that. Where was I going with this? This is not the question I was supposed to answer.
Wait, what was it? How was your relationship?
How do you find time for each other? I was thinking about how to find time for each other.
So like our lunch dates, I always get a little sad when we do like and it's usually me calling it, like we need to do a working lunch where we just grab something and eat at our computers. But most days we eat lunch.
Codependence.
We totally are.
And as far as having kids, I mean, I think especially after Felicity, I'm like, we're closer now than we ever have been. I mean, it's such a different experience from the first time to the second time. But now I'm like,
and we'll talk about that in a bit.
It's brought us closer together. 100%.
And here's the thing, though. First kid exposed every single crack we could have possibly had in ourselves, in our relationship. It exposes everything. So, like, the age-old joke, like, oh, yeah, have a kid, it'll bring you closer. And obviously, we all know that's not true. But I do think, like, the second time around, because all of our issues were exposed that first time around, and we kind of dealt with them, and we got through them, and I think that's probably why this helped. I don't think it would be true for everyone. Maybe, no, it can't be true for everyone.
No, but that's a very good point. You're right.
Yeah. But, so that was our journey through it, but that was hard. The first, I mean, me having postpartum depression was hard, and I think it was hard on you, and you've even said, like, you look back on that time, and you're like, there were so many, see, that's gonna, for real, make me emotional, but.
Yeah, there were so many things that now I'm like, but I didn't even, again, it was one of those things, I know we've talked about this before, where, like, I didn't even know what it was. I'd never heard of it. No one ever talks about it, and I feel like it makes me so mad now, knowing that, like, 70% of the people we know that have had kids are like, oh, yeah, I did that. I experienced that. I'm like, why does no one talk about this?
Yeah, I talk about it a gross amount. Like, anyone I know, and I'm like, probably overwhelming to them, but like... But
it makes me, because I didn't even know that it was a thing, so I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know. But now that I know, I'm like, oh my gosh, there were so many things that I could have looked back on. So.
Well, you even said you saw a picture of me from that time, and... You were like, you were so unhappy. Yeah. Like, how did I not see that?
Yeah. And again,
I'm so much happier now. It's all so much better.
And of course, part of it is like, well, it's just, I mean, we have a kid, we're tired. Of course, we're, cranky and tired and all that. But now, anyway.
It was abnormal.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been so much better this time around, but you guys know that. Okay. Ooh, this is a fun one to tackle.
Okay,
it's a multifaceted conversation.
Yeah, all right. Any plans to move?
No.
Not really. We've looked a few times, but there's different reasons for why we wanted to move in the first place and this, that, and the other. But
we never want to, I feel like I always need to touch on this because I think it rubbed people the wrong way when a few years ago we were like, yeah, we might move. And so many of you guys were like, but your house is so beautiful. Like, why are you so spoiled? Like, people that really took it the wrong way. And it was more of it was before we had the workspace and it was going to be a business decision. Like, we were like, we need space to be able to work. I mean, he has a legitimate travel agency with employees and, like, he needs a private space. I need a private space to be able to film and have all my equipment and, Anyway, so we were making a lot of different justifications, but once we decided just to move, to find a place to just work, wow.
We had a list of things when we were moving, and this house had everything except, like, 5 things. But other than that, we've been able to change all those things. The only thing we can't change is our garage. Our garage
and the laundry room.
Oh, and the laundry room.
I talked about that, and I don't know if that video will be up, but
it really does check all the boxes, and so I don't see us moving anytime soon. I said the only thing I can see us is maybe 5-10 years down the road moving, and I was like, I don't know.
How long have we been in this house?
5 years.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what it is about it, but there's something about this house. I can see us raising little kids, but I told Jessica, I'm like, for some reason, I don't see us having, like, grandkids in this house.
You even said you couldn't see us having teenagers in this house.
That's true, too, yeah. And I don't know why.
I kind of know what you mean. I don't know what it is.
And so I just love this house. It is the perfect house for us, like, at this stage of our lives. But I can see us moving somewhere else in the future.
And I don't know what it is either. There's just, like, something. But, yeah, I love it. And you know what? Our backyard at this point, we have created quite an oasis. And every day, like right now it's literally a heat warning or whatever so it's like 109 degrees. I'm like, we're not hanging out outside. Yeah. But every chance we get, we're eating lunch outside when we're here, we're eating, I mean, it's just, I love.
You've got the garden. I got you a hammock for your birthday or whatever. We've got like our new fire pit. It's just like, I love spending outside. And then of course we have the lake. And the lake was the thing that sold us on the house to begin with. Honestly.
Oh yeah. We
saw, I'll never forget, I was on the way home from picking up cabinets with my friend Ben, and we were like coming home from Ohio, and this house popped up, and I called you, I think, which I never, I get hives when I talk on the phone. I despise talking on the phone, but I called you, and I was like, this is the house. We have to call our realtor today and go see it. And I think we saw it the next day, and we put an offer in. Like, it was like, this is it.
It all happened so fast.
We saw it, it was like, this is it.
And that's how it needs to be for our next home, I think.
Yeah.
It just needs to feel like that.
and right
And every
now-
home we've gone to look at now, where it's just kind of looking for fun because it's so fun looking at. Like,
I
is that
know.
not the most fun thing in the world?
Yeah, it really is.
We looked at one like a month ago, and we knew we
And
weren't
we-
going to move. And I'm really glad because we were like, oh, this is a pretty cool house, though. But there
And
were too
we
many.
absolutely love our realtor, and so it's just fun to spend time with her too.
Yeah.
So
I really hope she feels the same way because anyway, we've told her like we promise someday we will move again, and so all this time spent looking at houses for years will pay off, I promise. But anyway, all right, next question.
Okay, you mentioned before Tyler didn't want kids. What changed? I don't think anything changed until we had the kids.
Well,
okay.
with Genevieve. Let's start with that because it was different.
So I'm going to answer your question with a story that doesn't really pertain, but it does.
You're going to circle back.
I remember when we did one of these a couple years ago, somebody asked what changed Tyler's mind because my boyfriend, my fiance, my husband doesn't want kids. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, my advice to that person was, if you have somebody in your life that doesn't want to have kids, the question is not do they want kids or not. The question is, if you do have a kid, are they going to be the kind of person that's going to step up and be there and be a good parent? Because I did not want kids, but the second I had them, being a dad is the greatest thing in the world. I love it so much. And so don't look for somebody necessarily that wants to have kids, because I did not want to have kids. You want to find somebody who, if it does come up, if you do have kids, are they going to step up and be that kind of person? Because a friend of mine literally just had a whole big blow up in their, they were never married, but they have 2 kids together, and they are never married, but they're separating, whatever.
Okay.
The man was literally, he never wanted it. He always called it babysitting the kids. He never wanted to be around. He was a very part-time kind of person.
Sure.
And so I think he actually wanted kids, but then when it came time to be a dad, he wasn't a good one. And so you got to find the opposite. You got to find somebody who maybe wants kids and will be a great dad. That's the winning combo there. But anyway, that's sort of my thing. And so it just changes you when you have kids. And I know that's so cliche, but it's like, it is the freaking best, man. It is the coolest.
What is it, a Family Guy joke where Brian's like, oh my gosh, you just don't understand until you have a kid. And he does like all the classic things that parents say, but we do. It's true. And there's a reason it's a cliche. And then with Felicity, another question, I'll go ahead and pull that one because I feel like that pertains. Was Tyler equally as frustrated when trying to conceive baby number 2, Miss Felicity? Because I've been pretty open about, it took us about a year of like actually trying before we actually were pregnant with her. And, I think a year is the mark where most doctors would say like maybe at that point, if you've really been trying and doing it correctly, it sounds funny. You know what I mean, though. It still sounds funny. That's the point where you would like maybe look into checking out like your fertility and all that kind of stuff. So we were getting close to that point. Like, okay, like if by Christmas we're not.
I was definitely more willing to wait. And I was like, if it'll happen when it happens. I think you were starting to get really frustrated. And I was like, it'll happen. I was not near as worried as you are.
Which is probably good because if you had become high-strung and like worried, I think it would have made me even more worried. So it was good that you were kind of cool, calm, collected about it. Yeah. But it's funny too because anytime I would take a pregnancy test, you would, we'd be waiting, and you'd be like, again, Jessica, like it's no big deal if it's not. Like you'd have to remind me. And when we did get the positive pregnancy test with her, you would not get excited. Like there was a few days where I would test every day. And each day you were like,
I was like, of course I was excited. I was like, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I was like,
you wouldn't allow yourself to believe it to be true until like it was like really a dark line.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that. I was like, bro, get excited.
Like, I don't trust it. I'm not getting my hopes up.
I know. So, but you were just playing it very safe. But we were obviously very excited.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm reading all the questions.
Okay, I'll read it. Something you loved as a kid that you want your own children to experience. You guys came through with like goodies.
I know. I was planning on like
goodies, but greaties.
What's your favorite pizza topping? I wasn't ready to bare my soul.
Cheese is my favorite.
Well, I have a couple.
You talk and I'll think and not listen.
The obvious one. The obvious one is Disney, of course, because we're huge Disney people, obviously, and so that's it. We were just talking about how much freaking fun it is to take your kids and experience everything through their eyes, because we went for years, for fun, and then as part of my job, and now we get to go and see things that we've seen 100 times, but see it through Gigi's eyes, and she
it's way more fun.
Excited. So that's a very obvious one. Mm-hmm. But the other one that I was thinking about is right now I have got Gigi right in my lane when it comes to music. She loves Elton John. She loves Billy Joel. Name. She does. She knows them all by name.
I got you an Elton John shirt for your birthday. From the concert, and she saw it and was like, Daddy, it's your Elton John shirt. I'm like, oh my gosh.
This morning, on the way to school, she said, Daddy, let's listen to the Thunder Rolls. And I was like, yes, that's my girl. Oh my gosh. And then she wanted to listen to the fire song, Standing Outside the Fire. She's right in in my brain. And that was me as a 5-year-old. We were watching some 90s Garth online, and it was
So good.
so good.
That is exactly the Garth I remember.
But it was a standing outside the fire video, like, of a live concert, and she was just mesmerized watching him, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is so cool, because I have, like, pictures of me, like, school pictures of me as a kid wearing a cowboy hat, because I was Garth Brooks as a 5-year-old, and so it's just awesome.
It is.
So those are things that I love that she loves now.
That is pretty.
Benny and the Jets. She's a big Benny and the Jets fan.
She is.
She loves Rocket Man, which is probably my favorite Elton John song. So it's good. It's good.
Trained her well, man. I've been trying to get her into Taylor Swift, and she likes it, but I have to, like, force her to listen. But then she's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, girl. I think for me, my thing is, other than the obvious, like, Disney, just, like, what I remember from my childhood is playing in the backyard all the time. And, like, running when the ice cream man was coming. Like, those dumb, very small things are the things I am excited about.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting emotional all over again. Whew, boy. The other thing was, and our battery's about to die, so we'll have to change it. Like, I loved having siblings, and so being able to, like, give Gigi a sibling, that was a big impetus for me. I was like, we have to have another kid. Like, we have to give her a sibling. Like, I loved having, and you're close with your brothers.
Very
like,
close, yeah.
I can't imagine a life where I didn't have them in my life, and so holding it together here, but, like, that was childhood to me, was playing with my brothers and sisters in the backyard. So I'm excited as she gets older for them to have that relationship.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, let's change this battery. While I get myself together. I fell. All right, I laid her down. My arm is so tired. What's your newborn must-have? I thought that I was very curious what your answer to this was.
Thompson's water seal.
I
coat her once a day. Keep her nice and fresh. No, I don't know. I don't really have it.
What's like a tool or a gadget or something? Like, there are a few things you mentioned, like, oh my God, these are the best.
The Hatch Rest. That's probably number one, but that's a selfish one because I just love having that white noise on at night.
We're gonna have to buy another one for her room when we move her into her
because
room
I want this
we
forever.
are now addicted.
It's so good. Oh man, that's probably my number one thing.
I think they have more like, as if it's grown up. They have like a smaller one that we could just use in here.
I like the heaviness of the sound. That's what makes it, man.
Good, yeah.
So good.
One I thought you would mention is the Halo.
I was just gonna, as soon as you said, that's what I was gonna think about. Yeah, because I am not a good swaddler, and that's.
Me neither.
I don't know that anyone is, unless you're a nurse.
My sister Chrissy's like.
Yeah.
And our friend Craig, remember, he's like a strong swaddler.
Master swaddler. But yeah, I bet you're right. That's a great one. The actual ones, because then you can just put their arms down. And she loves it. Gigi loved those. Yeah. Right now I have her in a swaddle me one, and she likes that too. And we've been using like in the day, but man, and she is sleeping well at night. I better not freaking jinx it. I know it's not forever, and I know it hills and valleys. What's yours? You didn't say yours.
Oh,
unless that was yours.
I need to do a video just on all of them. The Duna that we thought we were gonna sell/return, and now we can't stop using.
Yeah.
And that's the one. That might be it. We use it on our road trip.
Three or 4 days a week at least.
All right. When did you know you were meant for each other?
Well, I know I told you I loved you like 3 days in, so probably then.
It was like a weekend. Maybe. I'll give you a couple. I think it was like a couple months in.
I don't think it was that long in. I'm pretty sure I said I love you like day 3.
I remember even where we were in your parents' house when you said it. Do you remember?
Like, this little weirdo. What is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, I don't think I said it back. I
don't think you did either.
Yeah. It's a good thing I stuck around, man. I had some doubt early on, if I'm being honest, but I think I've told you that.
Oh, yeah. Who wouldn't? Have you met me? Again, I can be a little off-putting.
But so can I. And the thing, I don't know when I knew. Like, I feel like, I don't know. And like you said, we have in the past few years, grown so much closer and like more open with each other that and that sounds really dark to say that like we were already married, but I knew we were meant for each other. I never had that doubt. Like, I did not go into our wedding having any doubt. Like, I knew you were the one I wanted to be with forever. But I feel like just the past few years has just been way more like, even more fun. Like, going through life and like having kids and like all this kind of stuff. Hi, Pinot. Come here, bud.
I hope he's going to lay right in the background.
Come here, handsome boy. Hi. Yeah, so we're not really answering this question well. I don't know that there was like one moment.
Yeah, I don't think it's a moment. I think it's something that's built over a long period of time.
Oh, that is kind of a fun one. Who is interested in who first? A lot of you guys haven't been around. Like, we've told our origin story, if you will. I remember seeing you at our first rehearsal for Aladdin, and you were way late. I've told this story before, but you were like super late, and I was like...
That's a long story.
And I was the rule follower. Now I'm more the rule breaker and you're the rule follower.
100%.
I don't know how this happened. We just like changed lanes. But then you like got close and I was like, he's cute. Because you had like a baseball hat on and anyway, so there was that. But I mean, I was instantly like, yeah, he's cute. He's cute. Oh, yeah. What's Felicity's nickname that sold Tyler on the name Felicity?
Yeah, and so we actually were talking about this before, and I was like, I wouldn't say it was the nickname that sold me. I think I eventually just came around to really like the name Felicity. I didn't want to nail anything down because I was like, we still have, at this point, 3 months before she was born or something like that. So I was just keeping it open, but I think eventually I did land on Felicity, but I don't think it was because of the nickname that I landed on it. That's my version of the story.
I thought that was the clincher because you were like, I don't know because what will her nickname be? Because with Genevieve, we knew we wanted to call her Gigi. Like, that was a big part of why we
That was a consideration for me, but I don't think that was what convinced me to pick Felicity. I think I just ended up liking it.
But her nickname is Lissy. And so I'll call her Lissy Sissy or Liz.
Or you can Gigi just calls her baby sister.
Yeah, she hardly calls her by her name.
Felicity's a hard word to say, I think. But
and of course she says Felicity, which is cute.
But she's like, hi baby sister.
Or she goes, oh, baby sister's awake. And it's just cute.
And yeah, she's awake because you just poked her in the face.
Yeah,
that's why
oh my gosh. I'm like, Genevieve, please let her sleep. She just fell asleep. She's awake.
Yeah, that was fun while it lasted.
Favorite meal each other makes. The problem with this question is for us that we both like to cook. Yeah. Sometimes it's an argument over who gets to cook.
Yeah.
that is true.
And
a lot of times we make the same meals. Like, it just depends on who's cooking that night.
There are two things that I make that you don't. Cheesecakes and bread. But I don't know if either of those would be your favorites.
Okay, so then bread. Generally bread, but yeah.
But I don't know if those would be your favorite, like, meals.
I know. There's something I typically make for you, and now I can't remember. And you're like, gosh, this is good every time.
We just had it too. What was it?
Oh, the crock-pot meal is one, but that's easy.
Well, that one, but no, there was another one that you just made recently. I'm like, I can never get this one right. And you're like, I don't measure. That's what it was. You're like, you don't even measure.
Or actually bibimbap. I kind of mix.
You mix, multiple recipes, and I can never get it as good as that. So that.
I need to actually write my version of the mixture of a bulgogi bowl and bibimbap. It's just, they're all kind of...
You don't even measure. So that's what...
I know, that's what I'm saying. So I need to, next time I make it, actually double check how I do it and
write it down.
Write it down, because sometimes I don't want to make it. I need you to make it. That's my favorite. I told you last time we made it, I was like, I think this is top 3 meals ever.
I am not good at cooking off the cuff. I am very much a recipe follower.
I'm just an artiste.
And that's what I'm saying. There really is there's a difference there, because you can kind of come up with stuff. I am a decent cook, but you have the makings of a chef.
No, I do not. Maybe if we fused into one, if we hug just tight enough that we'll...
Yeah.
So for you, okay, my favorite thing, I'm just going to say bread, because I've never even attempted bread. Never even attempted it. And we were just discussing, because you're currently today, you're in the midst of making focaccia, my favorite bread in the world. And that is my favorite bread you make. You love sourdough, and I love that too, but you like the crunch of the crust. I like the sponginess. Oh my gosh, of focaccia. My mouth is watering. We're having our best friends over tonight, and you're making focaccia, and I'm making wait to eat it.
Rayo's sauce, from scratch. We have a Rayo's cookbook.
The Rayo's recipe.
I've never made it before, but we got the cookbook recently, and I think Barnes & Noble's going out of business. I got it for $5.
You got a stack of books,
the recipe is the Rayo's marinara sauce. So I'm really excited to try and make it from scratch. It seems relatively easy. We love Rayo's, and so doing it fresh, I think it's gonna be.
I can't wait. It's gonna end up being ridiculous. Do you ever disagree on parenting styles? I think if we see another parenting style not in us but in someone else, we know what we are not like.
Yeah.
We're not we're not super rigid.
Yeah, I think we both are pretty similar in our parenting style.
I will say this, do you remember having a conversation before when Genevieve, not when she was a baby, but as she started getting older, and I remember having a conversation together about we have to decide now what our style is, what are going to be the hills we die on. Yeah. Because it can't be everything, but we also need to know that no means no. And that is one thing, when I was teaching, I could see, and I've mentioned this before too, parents that gave in every time their kid asked for something and parents that didn't, and it's a pretty stark difference in those kids. Yeah. And then some kids are just born in a certain way that, but parenting does matter, and no has to mean no, and I do think we've stuck with that. Yeah. Do I think Genevieve is maybe a little spoiled? Yeah. And I think that's because she was our first kid, and now we look at it, we're like... Maybe we shouldn't have bought her a little token every time we went to the store. Yeah, and so now, but it's kind of worked out in our favor. Yeah. Now that she just turned 4, because now we're 4-year-olds don't get a toy at the grocery store. That, you guys. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, oh, that's the rule. Okay. And when she first went to school, we would give her a little it was always something small, a sticker or I mentioned this. Something small that she would get after school each day. For surviving school. Well, because she was so nervous to begin with. But now she loves school, and so we're like, now you're 4, you don't get those anymore. And she's like, okay. That's the rule of force. So that worked out really well,
Yeah.
but now we're just kind of undoing some things.
Yeah, one master parenting thing that I just learned about recently, and it was in a book called How to Talk to Little Kids So Little Kids Will Listen or something like that. The person was talking, it was like a first-hand account. They said basically that they were having a similar thing, and she said she realized that if she has a list, like a grocery list, and her kids ask for something, and maybe it's a list for each one of her kids, whatever, but they'll write it down. So, they'll say, oh, I really want that water gun. She's like, okay, I'll put it on your list. And she's like, mentally, they're like, okay, the kid knows it's on the list, so they know about it.
Or like their
so
wish
even if they don't,
list.
yeah, so even if they don't buy it at that time, just the act of the parent writing it down on the list, like,
and the
okay,
kid feeling
I now know what you want, and they, that was something that was like next level parenting to me.
Well, because a lot of times we'll say to Gigi, and maybe we should actually start instituting that, because I'll usually say like, oh, if you want it, if her birthday's the next thing, or like Christmas is the next holiday, I'll say maybe Santa will get that for you, or maybe, mommy and daddy will get that for you for your birthday.
Right.
Well, now our birthday's passed, so we gotta look all the way to Christmas.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's it. We should do that. Like, just have a note on her phone and she can see us.
Because she'll see it. And if it says Gigi at the top, she'll be like, okay, that says Gigi, and I see they're writing it down. Got it. Like,
perfect.
Because she'll want to see that list, because she'll
She always asks for things that don't exist anymore, though. Like, she'll look at a book and there's like a picture of something on the back of it, and it's like from the 80s. I'm like, honey, that...
I want that.
I'm like, that's not... She asked me for magic for her birthday. Magic, Tyler.
Yeah.
How do you tell a kid that magic's not real? So I was like, what do you mean? She was like Elsa magic, like where, I want to be able to have ice come out of my hands. I'm like, you better believe I found, we haven't given it to her yet. There's like a little thing for Elsa. It was on the Shop Disney site where like, I don't even know what it does, but like light comes out of it, or I don't know. I got her some magic, man. Did having a baby already make this experience easier?
I think we've gone into it with a very different mindset. So one of the big things is when you very first have a kid, at least for us, I was like, this is it. This is my life is over officially. This is now, my entire life is going to be consumed by diapers and spit up and all that. And now that we have a 4-year-old, like, okay, it does end and it goes really fast. And now I look at it and I'm like, when Gigi was a kid, I was always like, gosh, it's going to be so much easier when she gets to this milestone, or it's going to be easier when she gets to this. And I was wishing everything away. I was like, I just was trying to get to the next step. And now, this time around, I'm like, stay as small as you can, because I know it goes really fast. So that was...
I know.
And so it's different because
there's an end date to each phase.
This too shall pass. All the good stuff and all the bad stuff shall pass at some point. And so, don't wish away things just because they're bad, because the good stuff also goes away too. So...
It's so true. Like, I was cuddling her earlier, and she was just sleeping on my chest, and I was like, she's gonna, like, soon not do this anymore. You're gonna have 15 kids, Tyler. No. I would agree, though. Definitely having a baby already. Because, again, you know what's important and what's not. And my mantra is always, she won't be 30 and still doing that.
Yeah.
And so, like, even, like, things like Gigi being so picky about food right now used to really bother me. And it's still sometimes. But I've really gotten over it because I'm like, hey, she just turned 4. Like, that's normal. Yeah. I didn't eat any vegetables my whole life. Now I love vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I would like to claim credit for that, though, because I am the one who, I think it was chicken nuggets. She's like, she doesn't even like chicken nuggets. I was like, she will not be 30 and still not like chicken nuggets. Although I'm sure some 30-year-olds are like, I don't like chicken nuggets. Not
what
the point.
Kind
anyway.
of monster doesn't know. I'm kidding.
But I'm just saying, like, I that was one thing I was like, putting things into perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's it. It really does put it into everything into perspective. What was our first date?
I was going to say Red Robin. O'Charlie's? No.
No, it was like Hooligan. What was that place? It doesn't exist.
The one
here.
we went with.
Not Hooligans. O'Halligans. Nickel shot night at O'Halligans.
Gosh, what was that? It was
Houlihan's. Wait.
What was that
it's
called?
It's like Houligans or Cooligans?
Yeah, it's not around anymore. That building's gone too.
But I also remember one of our earlier dates, like we went to a park and you were like taking pictures of me up in the tree. It was really weird. Why are people so weird? Like, you're so weird when you're young, Anyway.
Still, too, also.
Still weird,
well.
also. Just different weird. This question made me laugh. How do you stay in love and not bored? You're gonna still have boring times. Like,
yeah, but I think you and I embrace the boredom.
I like the mundane, man.
I think we meet right in the middle, and it's kind of perfect. We love traveling. We love new experiences.
Yeah.
We love pushing ourselves. We love doing different things. But then we also love just sitting on the couch at home and watching TV. So I think you have to have both. Like, we always talk about, the perfect length of trip is when you're ready to be home. And then when you're ready for a next trip, when you're like, okay, I'm ready to, like, I'm so tired of being at home. So, and again, we're lucky because of my job. We get to travel way more than the average person, but we just like both. So I don't find the mundanity boring. I like both. Is that mundanity? Is that a word? It is now.
It is now.
Somebody call Webster.
Well, and like the whole staying in love thing, you just have to remember that the love that's at the beginning of a relationship, like that, like honeymoony, like that can't be what it's like all the time.
You don't
like,
think about me like that anymore? I think about you like that.
Aw, no, you don't. But
I
you
still
know
get
what
excited.
I mean? Like,
In
yeah.
Mel Brooks' book, he just was talking about how his wife was being interviewed.
What are you, like a nerd or something? You read books? You keep bringing up books.
Wordy books. Basically, he was saying that his wife, Anne Bancroft, was being interviewed at one point. She said, and they'd been married quite a while at this point. She said, I still get excited when I hear Mel put the key in the door and get home. And I'm like, I feel it's the same way. If I hear the garage door open, I still get excited.
Me too.
So,
like, I look forward to when, like, if you've been gone the day or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know how to bottle that. I don't know what the answer is. You just got to find the right person, I guess, and then it doesn't feel like there's no work going into it. I mean, it is work. Don't get me wrong, but you can't force that. You have to find the right person.
You know what, y'all? You just got to find your best friend. Or if you're, see, this is where it gets so hard because everyone's relationship, like think about people we know in our own lives. Like everyone's relationship is so different. And I don't ever want someone to like watch our relationship and think mine's not like that, so it can't be right.
That's true.
Everyone's relationship is so different. And you also should know that, you know, yeah, we happen to be best friends and make each other laugh. But it's not always perfect. Like just the other night, I was mad at you about, I don't even remember what. Like, it's not perfect. And you're seeing us on a good day where, you know, but it's not. And like you said, it's still work. And we've had rough patches in our relationship. It has not been perfect. And so I guess that's my thing. I don't want you watching this and thinking, well, then my relationship is crap because it's not like that. And
it's sort of like in The Office when it's like Girls' Day or something like that, and he takes them to the mall. And it's
I know what line
it's
you're
the difference
thinking of right now, though, by the way.
It's the difference between...
I would love to buy you.
It's the difference between Pam's perspective and Karen Filippelli. They're sitting there and she's like, and Karen Filippelli's like, well, you should really have to work at love. You know, sometimes it's really hard. And Pam was like, well, yeah, but you also need to, it shouldn't be that hard. I forget exactly what the line is, but it's sort of the difference between those two. And so there's, you know, the Karen Filippelli side where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's hard and it's hard work. But then there's the Pam side. She's like, well, you should also, you know, be so lucky as to find someone you actually enjoy being around.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
With the hard work. Ooh, this is a juicy, fun one. Not even juicy, just fun. Favorite Disney date night restaurants? Because I got a lot of questions, a weird amount of questions. We do need to do a Disney sit-down video, maybe like on your channel. Where we just like answer fun Disney questions
I
like that.
have a list. So I've now brought on all these new agents, and my agents are the
Shameless
best in the world.
plug.
Shameless plug. They are
Book
the
your next
greatest.
Disney trip through his agency. People who travel.
or
Link below.
Europe or Hawaii or cruises or
Oh yeah, I always
all-inclusives
forget. You
or
guys like
Asia
really do.
or wherever you want to go. We can probably help you out. So, but they are the greatest agents in the entire world. But I myself am not booking trips personally anymore.
Other than ours.
So that means in theory that I'm gonna have a lot more time to do all these videos, and I can show you my list. I have a list somewhere here of all of these videos that I want to do. First of all, these are all videos I'm going to do. Like a lot of them are sit-down videos and stuff like that. Most of them are already filmed. But then I also have Disney planning. This is an entire list of Disney planning videos I'm going to do. All of that. So there can be corresponding blog posts and Disney videos. So those are coming.
We also talked about starting a podcast, but it would probably be a Disney podcast.
Yeah, specific. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be so fun.
Anyway, what's the question?
Oh, favorite.
Date night.
So let's do a date night restaurant favorite and a family restaurant favorite. Because I got a lot of questions about that. Like, what's your favorite place to take kids? Like, restaurant in Disney.
Yeah. There's over 150
okay,
on
I already
property,
have
so
mine.
it's hard to narrow it
We've
down.
tried almost all.
We have not tried almost all of them.
You want me to answer first? What do you think?
Yeah.
My favorite date night restaurant would be California Grill. During the fireworks.
That's top notch.
I love, and we've even brought Genevieve there. So, I mean, it would work both ways. We've gone there a lot because it's our favorite place to
whenever
take.
we have somebody, if we're like, this is the one and only time they might go, or if it's like a big trip, if we can get a reservation there, which, by the way, if you book through a travel agent, they'll book your dining reservations for you. And you have a lot better chance to get them because they'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and book them. Anyway, yeah, that's a great one. Because it's like such an amazing experience. Like, when we took your parents, we were like, we have to try and get a reservation there because, like, it's an amazing
and it's
experience.
really, really good.
I just had a client get home, and she was like, she emailed me at California Grill, and she said, I am so glad you recommended this. It is the best.
Oh, good.
Best part. And I'm like, it's so true. And she's like, I had to email you halfway through because it's so amazing.
And it's at the top of the Contemporary Resort, and you can see the castle from the restaurant. And so if you book it during the fireworks, you also get to watch the fireworks. They pump the music in. And even if you ate earlier in the day, you can go back up and show that you had a reservation, and you can go on their like outer decker and watch it and still hear the music from there. So cool.
So cool. I have eventually, when I have all the time in the world, I have a whole slew of like Disney t-shirts I'd like to eventually design and all that. I need a graphic designer though, because I have zero design bones in my body. But one of them that I really want to do is a Top of the World shirt, because it used to be called Top of the World. Even like Top of the World, you know, cast member 1988 or something, whatever.
That lovely lady I was in a show with was performed there at Top of the World back when it was open decades ago.
All the ones that I have, they're not like Mickey design. They're like so deep dive Disney that no one is going to get them except like the 5 people that buy them. they're all
Listen,
like
I would like
super duper.
one of each, please.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually, when I have the time to do that, and I have a graphic designer that knows what they're doing. Anyway, I never gave my thing.
Yeah.
When I heard date night, it popped in my head probably because we just had a date night here. But we went to STK, which was not really even on my radar. It was really good.
It was very pricey. It was like our very special Disney date.
It was, I think, our anniversary, right? Is that?
And I think your mom was with us and she watched Genevieve.
It was my birthday and our anniversary. We were celebrating. And so it was pricey even for a Disney restaurant, but it was probably some of the best food we've ever had in Disney. So I would say that's my kind of go-to right now.
What about your family choice? Mine is Topolino's Terrace breakfast character.
Yeah, that's...
Because Mickey and Minnie come out and they dance, and then again, you can go out on the deck. The breakfast food is unbelievable.
It's probably the best breakfast in Disney.
I think it is.
With the exception of the breakfast pizza at Trattoria Al Forno. Still the best.
Good.
The best food in Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
But you can go out on, they also have like an upper decker. I don't know why I keep calling it that. And you can see like the parks from a distance because it's at one of the resorts. It's at the Riviera Resort, which is another favorite. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I can't even narrow it down. Like favorite family, and not even just family style, but family restaurant. Like if I had to pick just one. If somebody's going for one day.
Oof, that's too hard. You can't put that.
If you're going for one day, and
I love Be Our Guest, but it's really hard to get resis.
Yeah, Be Our Guest is good. I wouldn't be my top favorite though. Let me think about it.
Okay. Well, speaking about exactly this, what is something you could talk about for hours? Disney, we do. We have this game we play. It's so nerdy, you guys, and it doesn't even make sense. There are no rules. So the game, we were just playing it yesterday because we just booked our next trip and we're very excited. We'll literally be driving in the car. And the game is simply that one of us will just mention. How do you even explain what this is?
We just talk about
favorite. Yeah, we just talk about
There's
Disney.
no
like
rules
I'll be
to
like,
the game.
okay, I love that time when we were going to the bathroom in the Tangled restrooms and this happened or whatever. And then he'll be like, yeah, okay. We try and
find like real off the wall places that, like, so mine the other day it was the weird back Sundries gift shop in the Contemporary Resort that's like way back in the back corner where it's like a cave and like the people who work there haven't seen sunlight in 5 years and it's like they just have like groceries.
But there's not even a memory. It's just like, remember that? We're like, yeah, I remember that. And then I'm like, okay, remember when like it's so dumb. We were teaching Gigi how to play though, and she's doing it. She's like, awesome. The Winnie the Pooh ride. And we're like, yeah, girl, you get it.
Teacups. I'm like, yeah, you get
it. That's pretty much all this is. How do you divvy up chores? We got a lot of questions about housework and like, what does that look like for us? And if we ever get like mad at each other about who's doing what. Because that is like the realest problem ever, whether you have kids or not, like just housework.
Yeah, because it's never ending.
It's never ending. And I feel like that is a big source of contention for like everyone under the sun. It's like, well, I've been doing this for, you never help out, and
Yeah, I think we split everything really well. And there's obviously stuff that, I do more than you do. Like, even just small stuff like taking the trash out and stuff like that. Like, I'll always do stuff like that. And there's stuff that you do that I don't do. Mm-hmm. But I think we're pretty evenly split. Although it was funny a couple weeks ago. Because, like, she always does the laundry because you love folding laundry. And I used to do the laundry, but we've kind of went into our own camps.
Well, because you always do like yard work and trash stuff that I'm like, I'm never gonna do that.
Yeah, and you just love doing laundry, and so like I'll do laundry, but that's like one thing you like doing. We had a conversation the other day. And I was like, we're talking about the dishes, because I was like, in that sort of regard, Jessica always likes to do laundry, and I really like doing dishes. And so I told her, I was like, I feel like I do 95% of the dishes.
And I was like...
And you disagreed.
Part squeeze me.
Yeah. And so what did you say that you think the split was?
I don't remember what I said then, but I felt like I did it like 40% of the time. Like, I did feel like you did it more often, but I was like, no, but like, I do it a lot.
Right. And so the whole point of my story is, I assume that she's like, in Jessica's head, she's like, yeah, well, he does the dishes, 95% of the time, and I do the laundry 95% of the time. But that was not her perspective. And so I'm really glad we talked about it, because now I realize, like, again, I just assumed certain things. So talk about it.
Yeah.
And then make sure that what you see is also the perspective that your partner has as well, because what you think is true might not be true in their eyes.
And that's probably a big source of like arguments.
Yeah.
Is like, well, no, that's not my understanding of this, or that's
exactly.
not. And if you don't talk about it, you're not going to know.
Obviously, we don't do half of each thing, but I think when you look at it, as a whole, between the stuff that you do and the stuff that I do, I think we're pretty much 50-50.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, that's a huge point of contention for people. And so, usually, even if, because I'm not a big sports guy, not a big video game guy, a lot of the stuff that I feel like a lot of people you know, they get home from work and they want to just play video games. But I feel like when we are doing something, it's like, okay, I'm outside spending, 4 or 5 hours doing the bistro light. So it's stuff that it's a project that I'm working on or something like that. It's not like you feel like you're doing something and I'm just sitting on my behind.
It's not as though I'm doing something for the family and you're doing something
yeah.
selfish. It's typically something that benefits all of
Yeah.
us. And that's a really big difference. We're just weird, you guys.
Yeah.
I need you to understand.
All right. I think I have my answer, by the way, for
Okay.
favorite family style.
Okay.
And I was thinking about it. So what's if they're only going for like one day and they're only going to eat like one meal, my go-to, if they're going for one day, they're probably going to Magic Kingdom. And I would say Jungle Skipper would probably be my favorite. Because
for kids, though, it's not...
they have a kids menu. But my point is, they have so much food that's not burgers and hot dogs and fries and all that kind of stuff. And Disney's gotten really good about that over the years. There's a lot of things that are not just burgers and fries like theme park food. But that is probably my favorite. And it's probably the best meal I've ever had in Magic Kingdom. Because the Magic Kingdom restaurants are a little bit on the subpar side a lot of times.
I am shocked by that. That's not one I would choose. But I don't think it's for everyone. And if you're only doing one dinner or like one nice sit down, that's not what I would choose. I would still be like, try to... See, again, I just love Be Our Guest.
But think about like Liberty
get,
Tree
so.
Tavern, you're going to get a lot of food, and a lot of it's not going to be great. I like Liberty Tree Tavern, but it's going to be like, I'm thinking through all the other restaurants, like Cinderella's Royal Table. I mean...
That, again, impossible to get
not impossible to get if you book through a travel agent. But the other part of it is they don't even have like Princess Dining right now and that kind of stuff. So Be Our Guest is great, but again, right now you're ordering off a prefix menu, and again, unless you
honestly, you're just better off doing quick service at Magic Kingdom. That's what I think. I think the food's better.
Yeah.
So last quick question, because I figured you'd want to answer it, and then I know you have a meeting in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. What's your next home project you're planning? Ooh.
Since we know we're kind of digging our heels in and staying here for a while, there's a lot we're like doing.
So so the quick overview right now, and I'll vlog parts of this, but not all of it. So if you're curious, I'm planning on vlogging stuff. I actually have
I can already read the comments. People like, it was all just shameless plugs. Tyler and Jessica suck.
Yeah, well, that's not abnormal. Stop watching our videos then, if you hate us so much. Anyway, okay, so I have one video that I'm already almost finished with. It's a bunch of backyard projects that I've been working on. That's probably 90% filmed, but I have a few more things I'm going to try and finish up, and then that's going off to the editor. So get excited about that, like springtime outdoor projects. So going through really quickly.
Downstairs bathroom.
Which
you guys never see anyway, but we'll show it to you.
Doing some some wainscoting around that, replacing the light fixture, relatively light, but it's going to completely change.
Sink. That's
putting a new cabinet under. So that kind of stuff, that'll be good. The
reorganizing
basement,
the garage too.
Yeah, that's good. So the garage is a big one. So reorganizing it, and then I really want to get one of those flecked like garage floors, like the shellacked. So that's a big. So garage is a big project, and we actually have a big pegboard in there that I really want to utilize, because when we first moved in, I just threw a bunch of stuff there, but actually going through and organizing everything. So the basement, we want to redo the basement, and that's going to be a relatively big one. Our office, our home office that we have.
Really, we just need to paint and brighten up. It's so dark in there, and it used to just be his, and now that we're kind of sharing it when we work here, and especially with the young baby, we've been working here often. Once she's not with us 24/7, that will change, and we'll be going into the workspace even more, but right now it's just
yeah. And then the other one, like the other big one outside is the like playhouse we have. I'm gonna put some like railroad ties and some mulch and stuff down to kind of.
We want to get that rubbery mulch. Do you guys have any experience with that? Like the stuff that's like kind of rubber and it's almost bouncy.
It doesn't break down over time, or it breaks down over 25 years or something.
Yeah,
so
mulch gets expensive to replace all the time.
Yeah,
especially with
and
kids
it's softer
running around
too. So falling off and that kind of stuff. It's softer, but those are the big projects right now.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. This was probably the longest thing ever.
Yeah.
It was really fun. If you want to see us do this more often, we certainly can. Like, I could sit and chat with this handsome fella for a long time.
Well, you do, just whether the camera's on or not.
I know. It's even more fun to share with you guys. So if you enjoy it, please let us know, because we could do it more often. And, of course, if you want to see more of this guy, you can go check out his channel. Love you guys. Bye. Bye.